Do you know that in the Bible the Israelites were involved in 9 battles and they won all the battles against their opponents? But the most unbelievable battle is the one against 5 kings in Joshua 10 verses 1 to 27. But let's start the story from the beginning. There was nothing special about Israel at first glance. They were small. They were enslaved. They were surrounded by stronger nations, greater armies, and well-fortified cities. But Israel had one thing that no other nation had. God himself fought for them. From the moment God brought them out of Egypt, the Israelites entered a new identity, not as slaves, but as a people led by the Most High God. And when he fought for them, no enemy could stand against them. The first battle is when they escaped from Egypt in Exodus 14 verses 1 to 31. Pharaoh had finally let Israel go after the 10 plagues. But he changed his mind and pursued them with chariots and soldiers. Israel stood trapped between the Egyptian army and the Red Sea. The people panicked. They said to Moses, "Was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you brought us to the desert to die?" Exodus 14 verse 11. But Moses told them, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." Exodus 14 verses 13 to 14. Then God split the sea. The Israelites crossed on dry ground. When the Egyptians followed, the sea collapsed back on them. Not a single Egyptian survived. God won that battle, without Israel lifting a sword. The second battle is when they were attacked by the Amalekites in Exodus 17 verses 8 to 16. In the wilderness, the Amalekites attacked Israel from behind, targeting the weak and weary. Moses stood on a hill with the staff of God in his hand. As long as his arms were raised, Israel prevailed. But when he lowered them, the enemy gained ground. So Aaron and Hur supported Moses' arms until sunset. Israel won. But Moses made something clear. The Lord will be at war against the Amalekites from generation to generation. Exodus 17 verse 16. Even in the desert, with no land, no fortress, and no experience in war, they couldn't be defeated, because God was with them. The third battle was in Jericho in the book of Joshua 6 verses 1 to 27. Jericho was shut tight. Its walls were thick. Its gates were locked. No one went in or out. It was Israel's first major target after crossing into Canaan. But instead of launching an attack, God gave strange instructions. March around the city once a day for 6 days. On the 7th day, march 7 times and then blow trumpets. That's it. And it worked. When the trumpets sounded, the army shouted, and at the sound of the trumpet, the wall collapsed. Joshua 6 verse 20. Israel went straight in and took the city. There were no siege towers, no battering rams, no long battle. God brought the walls down himself. And number 4 was the most interesting one, when they stood against 5 kings in the book of Joshua 10 verses 1 to 27. 5 kings joined forces to attack the city of Gideon, who had made peace with Israel. Joshua marched his army all night to defend them. Then God stepped in. The Lord threw the enemy into confusion. Israel chased them down. God rained hailstones from heaven, killing more soldiers than the Israelites did with their swords. Then Joshua prayed, and God made the sun stand still for a full day so they could finish the battle. There has never been a day like it before or since, a day when the Lord listened to a human being. Surely the Lord was fighting for Israel. Joshua 10 verse 14. 5 kings couldn't stop Israel, not when God was fighting for them. The 5th battle, when the Israelites won a battle with just 300 men in the book of Judges 7 verses 1 to 25. The Midianites and their allies had gathered a massive army, over 120,000 warriors. Israel had just 32,000 men. Still, God said that was too many. He reduced them to 10,000, then finally to 300. Why? In order that Israel may not boast against me that her own strength has saved her. Judges 7 verse 2. Armed with torches, jars, and trumpets, Gideon's 300 men surrounded the enemy camp at night. At the signal, they smashed their jars, blew their trumpets, and shouted, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." God caused panic and confusion. The Midianites turned on each other with their swords and fled. Israel pursued and defeated them. No one could explain it. It wasn't strategy. It was God. The sixth battle. Jehoshaphat's choir goes to battle. 2 Chronicles 20 verses 1 to 30. Three nations, Moab, Ammon, and Mount Seir, joined together to attack Judah. King Jehoshaphat was terrified, but he didn't call his generals. He called a fast. He stood before the people and prayed. We have no power to face this vast army that is attacking us. We do not know what to do, but our eyes are on you. 2 Chronicles 20 verse 12. God answered through a prophet. Do not be afraid. The battle is not yours, but God's. Verse 15. The next day, the choir led the army, singing praises instead of drawing swords. As they sang, God caused the enemy armies to turn on each other. When Israel arrived, the battlefield was already filled with dead bodies. They didn't have to fight at all. The seventh battle, Hezekiah and the army of Assyria. 2 Kings 18-19, 2 Chronicles 32, Isaiah 37. The Assyrians were the most feared empire in the world. Their army surrounded Jerusalem. Their commander mocked Israel and their God. King Hezekiah went to the temple and prayed, Now, Lord our God, deliver us, so that all the kingdoms of the earth may know that you alone, Lord, are God. 2 Kings 19 verse 19. That night, the angel of the Lord went out and put to death 185,000 Assyrian soldiers. When the survivors woke up, they saw corpses all around. Sennacherib, the king of Assyria, withdrew and never returned. The eighth battle, even in exile, they couldn't be destroyed. After centuries of rebellion, Israel and Judah were eventually conquered, first by Assyria, then by Babylon. But even in defeat, God preserved a remnant. In Babylon, we meet Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They refused to bow to the golden statue. They were thrown into a furnace so hot it killed the guards. But God was with them. A fourth figure appeared, like a son of the gods, Daniel 3 verse 25. The flames didn't touch them. Then came Daniel, thrown into a lion's den for praying. But God shut the mouths of the lions. Daniel came out unharmed. No matter the location, no matter the threat, God made sure his people could not be destroyed. The ninth battle, Esther, God's hidden hand. In Persia, a plot was made to exterminate the Jews. The wicked Haman manipulated the king to sign an irreversible law. But Esther, a Jewish queen, risked her life to speak up. Through her courage and wisdom, the king reversed the plan. The Jews defended themselves, and Haman was hanged on his own gallows. The Jews survived what looked like total destruction, not by military power, but by the providence of God. This is God's promise to Israel. Again and again, Israel faced armies, famines, betrayal, and even exile. But God had made a covenant. No weapon forged against you will prevail. Isaiah 54 verse 17. If God is for us, who can be against us? Romans 8 verse 31. The reason Israel couldn't be defeated wasn't because they were always righteous. Many times they rebelled, sinned, and turned from God. But he remained faithful, always preserving a remnant, always keeping his promise. What do we learn from these battles? Israel was not indestructible because of their weapons, strength, or skill. In fact, many times, they were outnumbered and outmatched. But when they trusted God, followed his instructions, and walked in obedience, no enemy could overcome them. They defeated kings, crossed impossible terrain, and survived countless plots, not by their power, but by the hand of God. Their survival is not just ancient history, it's a testimony of a God who keeps his promises. When God fights for you, you cannot be defeated. You love this interesting story, make sure to subscribe and comment the most interesting battle.